right, here we go. All right, this program uses some new blocks that you haven't seen before. With your partner, read the code and discuss how you think it works. Change some lines to see what happens. What do you think each line is doing? All right, so let's do this together, all right? So you guys can see it. You just tell me, first of all, how do we think this is working? I have var fruit, and then it says create sprite 100, 200. Fruit dot set animation apple. Var vegetable create sprite 300, 200. Vegetable set animation carrot, draw sprites. So I'm going to put on my grid and I'm going to run this. So look at that. I have actual pictures of stuff. What? How cool is this? So far, we have only been dealing with circles and rectangles. That's kind of boring. So learning to use sprites, we are going to be able to actually create actual images, and we'll get into how to do that throughout this lesson. So let's change some stuff to see how it changes. So give me something to change.
The color of the apple.
I don't know if I can do that. Give me something in the lines of code to change. Grapes? Okay, there is no grapes. I can't change it. I have apples or carrots. So I want to change my apple to carrot. Okay, cool. Let's try that. So now I'm going to reset run. And now I have 2 carrots. Oh, what? All right, what else could I change?
You can change the carrots to apples.
What else could I change?
You can change it like it's like fruit.
Yes, you can change that.
Okay, I could change the word fruit. What do you want to change it to? Candy. Okay. Is my program going to run properly? Probably not, but that's okay. Let's find out. Oof. Because I changed the name of the variable to candy, and then I'm trying to call up fruit. So if I change this to candy, then it should work. There it is again. So remember, if you create a variable, in order to call up the variable, you have to make sure that you use that same exact variable name. So if I change the name of a variable to candy, then anytime in the program where I'm trying to call up that variable, I need to make sure that I'm using the word candy. Again, rules for variables, don't start them with a number. Make sure they don't have any spaces. And, of course, make sure that the spelling always matches 100%, 100%, 100%. All right, so we're going to go ahead and hit finish on this. All right, so we are going to introduce. Okay. The default. What? Huh? Okay. Cool.
So wait.
All right.
If you want to animate a single shape in GameLab, you can quickly end up with a lot of variables to manage. You'll need one to store the shape's X position, one to store the Y position, one for width, one for height, and as you add fills, strokes, and other characteristics, you'll need even more variables. If you want to animate additional shapes, you'll need to create a whole other set of variables. All this can quickly lead to problems with organization and clarity in your code. So what's an elegant and manageable way to keep track of all these variables? The solution is to start animating with sprites. Think of a sprite like a character that lives inside your animations. At first, a sprite will pretty much just be a rectangle. But the beauty of a sprite is what it has going on behind the scenes. When you make a sprite, it comes with properties, which are variables that store the characteristics of a sprite. Properties describe things like where the sprite's located on the screen, what it looks like, and what color it is. To create a new sprite, use the create sprite command. You can assign your sprite a label just like you would a variable. This code is creating a new sprite and giving it the label my sprite, but you can label it anything you'd like. Just like shapes, sprites need to be drawn to the screen. Use the draw sprites command to see your sprite appear in the display area. You can control a sprite's properties in your program by using dot notation. First, connect the label of the sprite to the label of the property with a dot. Now you you can use this just like a variable. So for example, mysprite.x gets 200 will update the sprite's x location to 200. And mysprite.width gets 50 will update the sprite's width to 50. The next time you call draw sprites, these new property values will be used to draw the sprite. Sprites can have tons of properties. As you get familiar with them, they'll give you powerful controls over what your sprites look like and can do.
You interested? I mean, you know, I can always email code.org and ask them. They're a pretty small organization.
She has a boyfriend that Oh, wow.
That like really is sort of like, you know, I don't know if it's hurtful towards you or her, possibly both.
She did kind of look like
Leotis, let me just stop you right there.
No.
Let me just stop you.
I know her.
You're sitting next to a young lady, and there are a couple of rules about dealing with young ladies that you might not know because, well, you're young. As a general rule,
He was going to say something stupid. I know.
don't say things that are random and stupid about women when you're around women if you ever plan on dating a woman. Because we have this like crazy like social network, and once like one of us finds out you're an a-hole, all of us know that you are. Hey, right? Thank you. There you go. All right. All right, ladies and gentlemen. So bubble number 3, creating sprites. We are going to create a new sprite and assign it to a variable. The default name is sprite, so you'll want to change it to something more meaningful. All right, so it says drawing sprites. Sprites only appear on the screen when you draw them there. Calling draw sprites will draw whatever you created onto the screen. Okay, let's see what it's asking us to do. If I can actually get my mouse to work. All right. Yes.
So you know how from number 1, it was like another set of things to verify the variables?
Uh-huh.
Why this one don't got it?
Because there's no code up there right now. Those gray boxes literally are just notes that you make to yourself.
No, I'm saying why we can't drag it on there? It don't got the variable thing. It don't got the thing that verifies.
I'm not sure what you're talking about, so show me in a minute, okay? All right, so I'm going to go ahead and make this a little bit bigger. And I'm going to turn on my grid. All right, so then it says add var sprite equals create sprite 200 under the comment creating sprites. So I'm going to go to my sprite box. And I am pulling that over, okay? So keep in mind, in the toolbox, you have different drawers. I have the world drawer, I have the sprite drawer. I'm in the sprite drawer right now. And all I did was kind of drag that over, because that's what it told me to do. It said add var sprite equals create sprite 200 under the comment creating sprites. Ignore the yellow triangle warning for now. It's just telling that you haven't used your sprite yet. Add draw sprite under the comment drawing. So I'm going to go into my world drawer and I'm going to draw it. And it says run the code. Now, that was kind of boring, and that's fine because we have not assigned our sprite an animation yet. We are going to get to that, I promise. Okay, so when I get into your carrots and your little like bunny rabbits, we're going to learn how to do that. But for right now, like she said, when you first create a sprite, it's just a box. You have to tell the box what to look like. Because remember, computers are dumb, and they only know what you tell them. I didn't tell it to be a carrot yet, or a bunny rabbit, or, you know, an apple. All right, so as long as you got this done and you have a nice gray box in the center, we are going to go ahead and hit finish for bubble 3. Moving on to bubble number 4. All right, so now it says this program should create 2 sprites, as on the left of the screen and one on the right, but it is only drawing one. And you don't need to add any code. You just need to rearrange the code that is already present to make them both run. So run, and there you go. So what is my problem? I do have 2. I have the left sprite,
The problem
and I
is
have
that
right
put the
sprite.
yellow thing at the bottom.
The yellow thing needs to be at the bottom. So remember, Computers go through the program in order. You said make the left sprite, and then you said draw the sprite, and then you said make a right sprite, but you never told it to draw the right sprite. Literally, all you have to do for this one is grab the draw sprite and put it at the end. Reset run, shabam bam. All your sprites they cannot draw until they're told to be drawn. Remember, computers are dumb and only do what you tell them to do. No, and that's fine. You can keep it like that, but again, specifically in the instructions it said you didn't need to add any extra code. All right, so we're going to go ahead and hit finish on this one. And bubble 5. Adding animations is where it gets interesting. Okay. Run the code to see what happens. Look at the animation tab to see what animations are available to you. Feel free to alter the animations or choose a new one. Use the set animation command to change the look of your sprite. Okie dokie artichoke. So I'm going to go ahead and make this bigger because I like making that a little bit larger. I like a larger workspace. Okay, so I have this little alien dude. Okay. So I'm going to go to my animation tab to see what I have available. Now I have a bunny. I have a little flybot. Okay, so on top of the code, on top of the game, it says code. And then there's an animation tab. You see that? So if I click the animation tab, it's going to show me the different animations that are available to me. Okay? So I have bunny, I have a flybot, and I have a red plane. Okay, awesome. Now, there is a way to add more here, but we're going to do that eventually. I don't know if we necessarily need to do that now. All right, so I'm going back to my code. So now it says, look at the animation tab to see what animations are available to you. Feel free to alter the animations to choose a new one. Set the animation to change the look of the other sprites. So, I have 4 gray sprites. Oops. I have 4 gray sprites that I needed to fix because I only had one that was coming up as a drawing. So I'm going to add in 4 lines of code. And let me actually pop this up like this. So I have top left, bottom right, bottom left, bottom right. I'm going to just kind of do a control copy here. Because I always spell things wrong. Come on.
Wait, you put it down twice?
I have bottom right, top left. Now I have bottom left. Now I need to do top right.
No matter which order we do it.
No, not at all. Okay, so now my first one was set to alien. My second animation I'm going to set to bunny. My third animation I'm going to set to the flybot. And my last animation I'm going to set to, planet, right? Plain red. All right, did you guys see what I did there? I'm calling up an animation for each of the sprites that I created. That's all I'm doing. When I do that, reset run, shazam, bam, bam. So those gray boxes now become Let me make it a little bit bigger for you. Hold on. I can't. Yeah, I'm trying to make it go over there and it won't. That's the best I can do to make it a little bit bigger. So I have created all of these variables. I created sprite, created sprite, created sprite, created sprite. And now I set an animation for each of my sprites. That's all I did. And then make sure your draw sprites is at the end. Then bring your computer up. All right, ready? Anybody else? If you need help, pop on up. Somebody close the door. It's too loud out there. Top left. Okay, first of all, make sure the spelling is correct. Everything has to be exactly the same. So that's why I always do like a copy. So you just kind of highlight it, control copy, and then control V, and then you start spelling from. So I spell this stuff. It's English. This is Spanish, phonetic, and English is long. I mean, you know, those English speakers don't think that we're crazy. We all language. Top right. Bottom left. So I just highlight it. Control copy. Control C is control copy. And then when you want to place it, it's control V. So I think that with an arrow like where you're plopping it down. That should work. Oh, fly boat. Like that. No warning cut up in the thing that's the issue. Hit finish, then I have to go back because obviously the issue. I don't know what it is. Just take a look at your code. Oh, okay. So it's running now. It probably just needed to be reset for some reason. So there you go. It's working. Yay. All right. Anybody else? All right. Moving forward. Make sure you hit finish when you're done with the bubble, because that way it shows up on my end as you did it. Well, I'm going to play the video, so it's on the thing.
Hi, I'm Aston Motes, and I was the first software engineer hired at Dropbox. I also work with an organization called DevColor. DevColor is a nonprofit that advances the careers of Black software engineers. Sprites make it much easier to organize your code, but visually, they're still just rectangles. To make our creations come to life, we'll want to add images to our sprites. We'll start with a simple program you've seen before that creates a single rectangular sprite. Before we can turn this rectangle into something more fun, we need to tell GameLab about the image we want to use. All images and drawings you add to your project are created and managed in the Animation tab. To switch back and forth between your code and the animations, use a toggle in the upper left corner. To add a new animation, click plus sign. This will open a library of images that are already built into GameLab. From the library, you can browse the categories to find what you're looking for. Once you've selected an image, It'll be added to your project and shown on the left. If you like, you can also change the name of your image. So here we've added an image in the animation tab, and we have code that creates a basic sprite. Now we'll need to put those two together and tell the computer that we want this particular sprite. We'll use the set animation block to do this. First, we'll use the name of our sprite and the name of the image we selected in the animation tab. Now when we run our program, the sprite will be drawn with the image we selected. All of the sprite's properties can still be modified as usual to do things like moving across the screen. You're not limited to the images that come built into GameLab. You can also choose to upload an image from your computer or draw something yourself. In fact, you can edit any image in the animation tab using the pixel editor. Using different commands in the pixel editor, you can easily draw, erase, or modify images. To adjust the dimensions of an image, just make changes in the menu on the right side. It's also just one click to flip your image to face the opposite direction. If you like an image you've made but want to make some changes, just make a copy. There are lots of helpful little tools in the pixel editor. Play around with them on your own and see what they do. Back in your code, the drop-down of animations makes it easy to pick which animation your sprite should use until you find the perfect look. Adding images or your own drawings to sprites lets you unleash your creativity and make your programs really your own. Let's get to it.
All right, yay. Okay, continue. Thank you, love. All right, so ladies and gentlemen, we are going to work with some sprites now. All right, so it says debug some sprites. This program draws 3 sprites onto the screen, but it's not working yet. The wrong sprite is in front, and one sprite animation isn't showing up at all. Run the code, see what happens, fix the code. Hint, just like with shapes, these sprites are drawn in the order that they were created. All right, so there it is. So my ice cream's on the wrong side, Pop's not showing up, and Get Ready is in behind. What do we want to fix first? What should we fix first? Anybody? Anybody? Go ahead. Where do you want me to put the words? So if it needs to be on front, what layer of code is that? Is that going to be the top or the last thing before we draw it? The last thing. Okay, let's try that. So I'm going to bring the message, I'm going to bring this line of code down to the end. Awesome. And reset run. Not quite.
Wait, why is it 2 drinks?
Okay, why does it say 2 drinks? Let's figure it out. So it says.
Say drink and then on the set animation say ice cream. But...
So I'm going to create all of my sprites first. Let me just start with that. Okay. So when I moved the message part, was that the part that I should have moved? Or do I need to create it last? Leotis. I moved the part where it said the message, but is that the part that I should have moved? Or do I need to create it last? Okay, cool. So if I move that to the bottom, reset run. Well, now it's on top except, I'm sorry, I didn't create it last. Yep, I moved message to the, okay. How do I get my ice cream to move?
Don't you gotta change the numbers?
You gotta put right sprite, where the variable thing that and inside the other thing, and then
Or do we want to get the pop to come up first? What do we want to fix first? Okay, cool. Let's get the drink to come up. Awesome. So, who can tell me what the problem with getting the drink to pop up is? started as the ice cream. Okay, so if I change this to dessert,
Miss Cano-Michael, this don't make sense.
there it is. Yes.
So, for the elements for the play,
Yes.
we were wondering, there's okay. If me and like the other narrator could either Thursday or Friday or both an announcement for it.
Absolutely.
Alright.
So I normally go down to do announcements in the last 5-ish minutes or so before the bell rings for second hour. So you would have to clear that with your second hour teacher, but I have no problem with that. Okay?
Alright, thank you.
Yep, no problem. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we good?
No.
If you're having an issue, come see me. Okay, so come to this side so you can actually see your code. I create a drink. I'm using it twice. I create a dessert. I'm never using it.
What?
So, ice cream, I'm guessing is probably dessert. Change the word drink to call up your dessert menu or your dessert thing. I mean, it might, depending on which one shows up on the left and which one shows up on the right. But if it doesn't work the first time, then flip flop.
That didn't even.
Oh wow. Like this?
Yeah.
Can you just leave it like this?
Well, is that the image?
Yes.
Okay, cool.
Happy cat.
Alright, let's see what you got.
Gray hairs.
Okay, so first of all, your message needs to go last because we want the words on top. Okay, first of all. Do that to start. Okay. You have dessert, then you have drink. So, look at the instructions. I want the drink on the side with the 100. It's on closer. Somebody change this one to drink. Okay. Okay, that's the 100, 200. And I'll leave that one at dessert. And then obviously my ice cream is my dessert. I think Parker has passed unless he came back. Oh, there it is.
We got a whole bunch of Oh. Yay.
Drink. Dessert. Message.
Thank you.
You have to create your variables. Then you have to call up your variables and set them to an animation, and then you run. And then, of course, your order matters. All right, moving on. All right, ladies and gentlemen, 8, 9, and 10 are yours. So 8, 9, and 10 are yours to finish. 11, 100% optional. And I'm going to stop